Namaskar. Namaskar and welcome back to the Eikam series on the Gita on the go. And especially now as we continue our explorations into the nature of the cosmos, the universe, understanding Tat. We have thus far spoken about the manifest part of Tat, which was about what the manifest nature, the Prakriti, the Mahat. And there we spoke about the Panchatattva, we spoke about that little ego, we spoke about manas, we spoke about emotions, we spoke about the intellect, the buddhi, and how that rich tapestry of everything material around us is interwoven of these 8 elements interspersed with the three gunas of Rajas, Tamas, and Sattva. We've understood deeper the further nature of Rajas, Tamas, and Sattva, on which, by the way, we will come back to and pay more attention to it again. We've also understood about the nature of the unconscious, the Brahman. We've spoken about Sat, Chit, and Anand. We've spoken about how, in order to experience the Anand, you need to make yourself available. You need to be in contemplation. We've spoken about the Nada Swara, the Omkara, and how it allows you to bring yourself in contemplation and oneness with Tat. And then we've spoken about how we need to make ourselves available. And if you remember, in the previous chapter, in chapter 9, which was the Raja Vidya, Raja Guhya, it really was the royal secret about how simply by being in contemplation, you actually experience the Ananda. And therefore, the state with which you need to present yourself into that contemplation is with Shraddha, with Bhakti, and with Vishwas, with faith, with dedication and devotion. Today, as we explore further into Vibhuti Yoga, and with that, we welcome Samir back with us on the Gita on the go. Samir, it's always such a pleasure to have you back with us.
It's always a pleasure for me too.
So tell us, Samir. So I have sat in contemplation, and I have understood the nature of the universe, or not understood, but at least theoretically grasped to what it is that the nature is made up of, and the cosmos is. And I am offering myself in complete faith, in dedication, in devotion. What is going to happen?
See, Eika, what are we all running after? Happiness.
Yes.
Right? And where does happiness come from?
Within? Within and without.
So the without part is what we believe. Right?
Yes.
So when I eat my favorite, right, the Rasagulla.
Yes.
When I eat my first Rasagulla, I feel so happy.
Yes.
Will I feel the same happiness when I eat the 50th? If at all I can, when I eat the 50th.
No, and I've often wondered, why not?
Because the happiness was not in the Rasagulla. So the happiness that you felt was the reflected happiness that comes from Sat, Chit, Anand.
So you're saying the Anand was not in the Rasgulla?
Because within you, the Rasgulla...
What did the Rasgulla do?
The Rasgulla triggered a reflection of that and brought it up. And you felt, because of your identification with the body, mind, intellect,
yes,
you felt that the Rasagulla gave you happiness. So now, whatever be your Rasagulla, it could be the BMW, it could be a 5-bedroom apartment, or it could go into the mountains. You see, I can run away from here, go to the mountains, but I still carry myself, right?
Yes.
So that's not going to help.
Okay.
So how do we connect? Now the problem is, Sat, Chit, Ananda is all pervading. Existence, everything that you know about yourself, that's one thing that you've never doubted. The second is that you are aware, and you are aware that you exist. And I've just, at least theoretically proven that you are Ananda, right? Using the Rasagulla. But I can't connect with that. Why? Because I still identify with the mind. And you know what the nature of the mind is? Have you ever seen a caterpillar?
Yes.
Have you seen a caterpillar move from one place to the other? On a tree or a plant?
Yes.
And if you have observed, what it does is, it catches on to something
and then
before it lets go of the earlier leaf that it was eating.
Yes.
The mind exactly behaves that same way. So the mind needs to catch something. Right?
Okay.
Now, let me explain Ananda, and from there we will move to what you asked me right now. Is that Ananda, the one we talked about, the Ananda coming from the Rasagulla, is called Vishayananda.
Okay.
Vishay se aaya hua Anand.
Correct.
And the moment the Vishay goes, the Ananda also goes.
So whether it is Vishay or it is Vastu or it is...
Whatever, Vishay is subject,
whatever.
right?
Got
From the object.
Yes.
From the object, the Ananda came, or at least I believed it to
Yes.
be. And when the object moved, the change of object happened, and all objects are temporary. My Ananda vanished.
Yes.
Can I then generate that Ananda within myself? So there is another level. It's called Bhajanananda.
Okay.
This is Ananda that I get within myself. I don't need a prop. So when I sit in contemplation,
Yes.
when I examine the divinity of this entire universe, when I see a particular image that I believe to be greater than me, and I get a thrill,
Yes.
that thrill did not require an external prop. It came from inside.
Yes.
So it's more permanent.
Everything in the cosmos and what I identify as being external to me, beyond my body, beyond my mind, beyond my intellect, stays as it is. It is.
Correct.
And it is my engagement with it,
Mm-hmm.
with both the external and my own identity, that changes my experience.
Of course. Until you have transcended all experience.
Okay?
Because you then move to becoming the witness of the fact of experience, experiencer,
my
and
Own
experiencing.
experience.
Yes. Which is why Shankaracharya in the Nirvana Shatakam says, I am not the bhojanam, I am not the bhojyam, I am not the bhoktam.
Yes.
Right? Not the experience, not the experiencer,
Yes.
and not the act of experiencing.
Yes.
But we are limited by words.
Yes.
And therefore, our words, our mind needs props before we can move forward.
Yes.
So how do I move from Vishayananda to Bhajanananda?
Yes.
I need to be able to catch on to something bigger than what I am right now.
Huh.
And that's what this chapter is all about. Vibhuti, the word, means glory. Technically, Brahman has no glories.
Brahman
Right?
is.
Exactly. Brahman is, it is aware, and it is of the nature of Ananda.
Hope that as soon as we can experience, taste, touch the Brahman, we will experience that Ananda.
You will
You will be in
become,
Ananda.
Yes.
You will become Ananda.
Correct. You cannot experience Ananda
Yes.
because then there are two.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
The whole principle of non-duality
Yes.
here, it comes in. So now what happens is, and you, Arjuna, like you, started asking that question.
Yes.
That I have understood that I may not have experienced it, but I have understood that there is Akshara. Akshara being that which does not, jiska kshay nahi hota hai, that which does not,
Which is seminal.
is temporary. And I have understood that there is Brahman. I have understood that you gave that knowledge to me, which is not available everywhere because we cover ourselves with all the vasanas.
And you have shared the secret with me as well.
Perfect. And now what?
But now what?
I'm still the same Arjuna. I am still getting angry. I'm still
Yeah.
holding on to my attachments, my Gandiv,
Yeah.
my Rath, right?
Yes.
My relatives.
Yes.
How do I get over it?
Yes.
So Krishna says, so what he says is look around you. And what you see, wherever you see, anything that is glorious, anything that is powerful, anything that is bigger than you, know that to be coming from me alone. And he summarizes this entire chapter in the 41st shloka, where he says, anything that you see around you. You see, there is a beautiful analogy that can be used in the Vedantic sense. I'm sure I have told you the rope and the snake.
No, but it's actually very useful. The rope and the snake and your rasgullas are
So the rope and the snake, right? Where did the snake come from?
from the mind.
Right? Absolutely, only from the mind.
Yes.
There was no snake,
Yes.
but yet the snake is very real,
Yes.
and yet it is an appearance.
Yes.
So there is only one called the rope.
Yes.
Now, however, since I already am associating in my mind with the snake, all sorts of emotions come in.
Yes.
Now look at it from modern psychological thinking, and if I move my thoughts to something bigger, something better,
Yes.
something more positive, what happens to me?
I have let go of the rope or the snake or the whole rope and snake conundrum. I'm beyond it.
And what he does is so beautiful. he starts from verse number 21 to verse number 40. He gives us in 19-20 shlokas, he gives us beautiful examples. Some people ask, why does he have to give so many examples? The point is, we associate with something and we don't associate with something.
No, also because Arjun is a difficult student. Arjun needs a lot of explaining, so that's fine.
Yes, and we are more difficult beings. So,
Clearly.
so therefore, it requires that whole set of multiple examples. And those examples are very contextual, right, to Arjun, because it's a dialogue.
Yes.
So sometimes what happens is, these examples, when we read them, and we don't know the backstories of these,
Yes.
We get lost, we don't understand them.
Yes.
And then they become a sort of a litany, they become something that is chanted. So it's very important for us to go through, when we actually do the study, to go through each of these examples and transpose them into your life.
Yes.
Right? He uses an example of the Veda. Now, most of us would not have studied the Veda fully.
Yes.
Right? And even if you have, you would have studied only a part of it. So when he tells us that of the Vedas I am this or of that or whatever, it doesn't really make sense to you. But if I now change the word and say Veda means knowledge, and if I say of all knowledge, I am that knowledge which is permeating the whole science of knowledge itself.
I have made that leap.
Correct?
Yes.
That's what it is. That's how we use this. And that's why, to answer your first question, I can't sit in contemplation and say Om, 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 and my anger is gone.
Yes.
It won't, right? How do I take it there?
Yes.
I start by looking outside. So now again I go back to the rope and the snake. And now every rope therefore has a snake on it.
Yes. Yes.
Right? There's one way by which we understand this oneness. I'll go back to the Chandogya Upanishad. Right? And it's a beautiful story. Shvetaketu comes back from school.
Yes.
He's done 12 years of schooling.
Yes.
Comes back. He went to an Ivy League school, right? And his dad actually cajoled the principal. He didn't pay money there, but he cajoled the principal to take him.
Yes.
Then when Shvetaketu came back and he said, old man doesn't know anything. He's old school and so on and so forth. So he calls Shvetaketu, right? Have you learned that by learning which you know everything?
You know everything.
Shvetaketu said, what is this?
ये तो नहीं बताया था, आउट ऑफ सिलेबस है।
Yeah, सिलेबस के बाहर है। बायोलॉजी पढ़ी मैंने, जिससे मुझे लाइफ के बारे में पता चला। केमिस्ट्री पढ़ी, जिसके बारे में एलिमेंट्स के बारे में पता चला।
Correct.
Mathematics and I learned numbers.
Correct. But
what is this?
Yes.
And here again, through use of examples, understood at an existential level everything that is made of iron. Right?
Yes.
Here is what Vibhuti Yoga does. Vibhuti Yoga says, if you have understood that this pot is made of clay, and that pot is also made of clay, and all the clay, you have understood the clay, that all shapes and sizes that you see made out of clay are essentially I am the clay that makes all this. Right? I may not know the individual details. ये वाला long necked है, ये वाला बड़ा वाला मुंह है, ये पेट बड़ा है, इसका पेट छोटा है, whatever, right? इसके ऊपर design है उसको. I did not know all of that. I know that, that shape and size actually are immaterial, temporary. They are all made of the same substance.
So ये सब clay है. All pots are clay.
So Vibhuti Yoga takes us to a point by first moving away from that contemplation of the non-descript to something that I can describe, something that is bigger than me, and then move me from there to say that which you are seeing that is bigger than you in this, all these things, they are all ultimately the same substratum, me.
And that is the Brahman. You know, there are some very beautiful analogies that Bhagwan Sri Krishna uses. I'd love to hear them from you, Samir.
Can I read out?
Please, that would be wonderful.
So he says, Vedanam samavedosmi devanam asmi vasavaha indriyanam manaschasmi bhutanam asmi chetana. Can I explain this?
Yes,
So
please.
beautiful. You see, he says, of the Vedas, I am Samaveda. Now, if you know the Vedas were one mass of knowledge. Veda Vyasa. The word Veda Vyasa basically means editor.
Yes.
His actual name is Krishna. So Veda Vyasa separated them, categorized them, and classified them and put them into 4 groups.
Yes.
And the Samaveda was the musical part of the Rig Veda.
Yes.
Or the Rigvedic chants taken and set to music. So most commentators say that it is because the music is there while it's not there in the other Vedas. Is that he says that it is Samaveda. Somehow I felt that Krishna couldn't have been so very common.
Yes.
So I will not claim this has any authenticity because it's mine, right? It's coming from me alone, and there is no validation to this. But Samaveda has an Upanishad called Chandogya Upanishad, and
Yes.
the Shvetaketu story that I told you comes from there.
Yes.
And what does Shvetaketu's father says? Now that you've understood, you are that.
Yes.
Tattvamasi, Tattvamasi. Now, Tattvamasi is a Mahavakya which is told to you, and that is the journey that moves you from your question, Oham, who am I,
to Soham.
to Soham, I am that.
And also Tattvamasi is, as we discussed, the structure of the Bhagwad Gita at all.
So, I mean, while I'm sure Krishna did not think of the structure in that, but I have a feeling that that's the starting point of the journey if you're going to use the Vedic method.
Yes.
That's the starting point of the journey. So he says, Vedanam Samavedos. Then he says, Devanam of the Devas, I am Vasavaha. Vasavaha is Indra.
Yes.
Indra is the king of the gods.
Yes.
So all the Devas are powerful.
Yes.
But Indra controls all of them.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Actually, Indra, the word, is there a conjugate word?
Yeah, clearly it is linked to the Indriya.
Perfect. So the thing that controls the Indriyas, the God. So you know what Swami Chinmananda used to say, Diva means to shine.
Yes.
This entire world shines for me because of my sense perception.
Yes.
Right? And that which controls that, and which is what he does in the next line. He says, Indriyana manaschasmi. Now, have you ever encountered this with yourself? You're reading a book and somebody comes and calls you, or there's a doorbell that rings, and you're so deeply engrossed.
Sunai nahi deta.
Sunai. Actually, Sunai nahi deta, is that really true?
No, I'm sure the sensorial capability exists.
So what happens? But we say, you heard, but you didn't
not listen.
Right?
You see, but you do not observe.
Correct. So why did that happen?
Why?
Because your mind moved away from that Indriya. It stopped that Indriya from working. So who controls the Indriyas?
Mana.
And therefore, of all the Indriyas, who controls them? One. Who is one? He. Who is the best of the Indriyas? Mind is the best of all the Indriyas. While it's not an Indriya itself, but it controls all of the Indriyas. And hence, I am the mind.
So if you're stuck in the Indriyas, focus on the Mana. If you're stuck in the Vedas, get to the Samaveda. If you're thinking about the Devas, get to Indra.
And then he says in the last one, he says, Bhutanam asmi chetana. Such a powerful, it gives me goosebumps, you know. Bhutanam, the word Bhuta, talks about the elements.
Yes.
And in Vedic thinking, in Advaita thinking, the Bhuta, the Panchabhutas, they are jada. They have no consciousness.
They're not sentient.
They are not sentient. What makes your body move? Your body is made of the 5 elements.
Yes.
It came from the 5 elements.
It will go back to the 5 elements.
It borrowed more from the earth element and the water element and the air element.
Yes. And the fire. Yes.
Right? And then, at some point of time, it will go back.
Yes.
Right? Either by burial or cremation or
whatever.
Fed to the bird or whatever. So what is it made up of? It's made of the 5.
Yes.
What makes it move around?
The prana. The consciousness.
I am that consciousness that makes your body move around. So when you see yourself moving and you can withdraw yourself from that movement, you say, I am that. Isn't this so beautiful? He's a past master in psychology. Right? And he takes this, he brings it to a point where anything that you see around, right? So for that matter, he says, of the trees, I am the Ashwatha tree.
Why Ashwatha?
So again, why Ashwatha? Ashwatha is believed to be a tree which produces the largest amount of oxygen. Now, true, false, I really
Doesn't
don't know, and
matter.
I have
Haan,
one. It's a belief, right? Let's keep it there. Because it is a tree, and what do trees do for us? They give us lots of oxygen, they allow us to breathe. Take away the trees, and you know what we are doing right now. So with global warming and all that. So if you have ashwatha trees around you, if you are contemplative, this is where you link it from the earlier chapter. You learn contemplation.
Yes.
Now you be contemplative, you've seen the tree, and you start contemplating, and you take that jump to the ashwatha. So any tree can take you to ashwatha. And ashwatha takes you
to the consciousness, to the Brahman.
That's the link, right? There's another beautiful one. He says, Sthavarana, Sthavar means that which does not move. Sthavarana, I am Himalaya. Right? Now, obviously the Himalayas are the biggest mountain range, the longest mountain range. But there's a nice story here also. You see, other than the Himalayas, all the other mountains at one point of time were said to have wings. And they used to fly around. And they would go and settle down wherever they wanted to. And they would obviously therefore cause a lot of destruction or damage or even disturbance. So Indra was tasked by people and said, look, you are our leader, strongest, please go and settle these guys down. So he went around cutting off the wings of all these mountains. And wherever they fell, they became, but they were therefore not really stationary, they were moving. And while Himalaya was the only one which never moved. So hence, Sthavaram, I am Himalaya. Of all of these mountains, which is the one which is the biggest, or which is the one which is the most glorious? Obviously the Himalayas. Again, now you see the smallest hill, then you go to Panchgani, right? Or you go to Matharan. But when you're going up Matharan and you're contemplative, you've gone through the Gita, you've gone through chapter 9, and you're going up Matharan. Hey, this is a hill. A hill is nothing but a smaller version of Himalaya. Himalaya is nothing but a manifestation of your mind moves into that so smoothly, so beautifully at all points of time. Can you even hold on to anger if you are in such a state?
No.
Can you hold on to attachment? Can you hold on to angst?
No.
Nothing.
No. And so therefore, Samir, as I'm thinking about the Vibhuti Yoga, I'm actually thinking about how in discoursing on the nature of Tat, while Bhagwan Sri Krishna has spoken to us about the Mahat, the Amahat, the material, the manifest, the unmanifest, the Brahman, the contemplation on the Brahman, the Sat, the Chit, the Anand, how everything is me. The reason that I'm particularly touched, and I'm almost getting goosebumps from the Vibhuti Yoga, is because I'm thinking that He's made the universe and the cosmos such a glorious place for us. To say कि actually तुम्हें अगर आनंद चाहिए, if you want to be आनंद, all you need to do is to be able to push out, is to take that quantum leap of your little ego and take it into how glorious the universe is, how glorious the cosmos is. Every pot is the same clay, is such a powerful divine place to be. And for Bhagwan Shri Krishna to tell Arjun that just, experience, engage, taste. It is almost like Amrita, no? That just taste that nectar of the divine, and uske liye all you need to do is to move out of your little mahat, little ego, and just see the vastness, the glory that is the cosmos, and you will understand it, you will get it, you will be at
What happens here is a lot of people again also come back to me and say that, Gita is a spiritual book and so on and so forth. Of course it is. But at the same time, it's actually your manual for life. Right? A life led by these principles, and you forget Krishna, you forget the divine, you cannot ignore the fact that you exist. Right? You cannot ignore the fact that you are aware.
Yes.
And you cannot ignore the fact that whenever you touch that awareness, you do feel happiness. These are three underlying truths which are in your experience.
Yes.
But how can I make it constant? The only way to make it constant is this.
How can I make it conscious? How can I make it constant? How can I help you evolve to your better, higher level? And this he's explaining not in the context of you or Arjuna evolving you, but in explaining the nature of the cosmos, that it is really just all glory.
And which is why if you see the word, and you use the word glorious so many times, is because, see, that's the thing. And that's why Vyasa calls this Vibhuti Yoga. Right? And I'm saying Vyasa calls this because obviously I'm sure Krishna did not stop the conversation in the middle and suddenly
Okay,
say,
chapter over on Vibhuti Yoga.
How let us do Vibhutis. So, but I mean, as an editor, his job was to do this. So he's done that very beautifully. And he's put this chapter together. What is also interesting is this almost is the climax of the Gita, isn't it? But the reality is, you know what? It isn't the climax.
We are actually bang in the middle of Bhagwad Gita. We are at chapter 10,
Correct.
9 and 10.
Correct. And actually, chapter 9, verse 13 is exactly the 358th verse. Right? So, we are somewhere around there.
But jo aap keh rahe hain, Samir, that is so powerful because right now, the experience that I have of the Bhagwad Gita or the understanding, and I'm saying, iske beyond aur kya ho sakta hai? That I can experience, I can be Ananda, not even be at Anand, in Anand, on Anand, but just be Ananda just by the contemplation of this divine, glorious universe and the vibhutis that I am a part of. Isse zyada kya ho sakta hai?
See, what Krishna does is, he takes us to this climax. And then from there, he starts working on how can you remain at that position throughout.
So you don't have to come back.
You will come back. And you know that coming back, I have this treadmill mantra. I don't know if you've ever told this to you. Shankaracharya in Bhagavad he uses a particular shloka. It says, Punarapi Jananam.
Punarapi, yes.
So whenever I chant it with that rhythm. You know, it's like that when you're on the treadmill. Punarapi Jananam, Punarapi Maranam, Punarapi Janani, Jatare Shayanam. Right? You keep on running at the same place, coming back again, doing the same things, And when Poham arises, Tattvamasi happens from the teacher. Sri Krishna is the Jagat Guru, and we move to Soham. To move to Soham is not easy, and therefore this contemplation, from contemplation to the glories, catch hold of the glories, now go to the glory from anything that you see and
This is so beautiful, Samir, and I can't get over both the simplicity in very modern management parlance, both the efficacy and the effectiveness, and the simplicity of it. That all I need to do in that moment of grief, fear, panic, anger, hatred, irritation, all I need to do is just be able to take the quantum leap and see the divine glory in it.
So,
and then I am.
So, Eika, I am going to interrupt you here because you see, another very beautiful thing here is Krishna is so consistent about his message.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Earlier, he told us, Mayata Tamiham Sarvam, I pervade everything.
Yes.
Right? And I think I remember using this, saying that I am in anger, anger is not in me.
Yes.
And the moment you do that, you move away from anger. Right? And where do you go then? And you say, anger. What is anger? Anger is Rudra. Right? What is Rudra? Rudra nam aham Shankara. I am Shiva.
I am Shiva. Just imagine
so even
the
your anger can take you to that point of oneness. So
this is so exalted, and I am now really looking forward to saying कि इसके आगे इस experience, इस अमृता, इस आनंद में रहा भी जा सकता है. Sounds just such a divine place to be, and so thank you for the Vibhuti Yoga, and I'm really looking forward to our journey ahead, Samir.
Let us end this chapter.
Let us.
Hari Tat Sat Iti Srimad Bhagavad Gitasu Upanishadsu Brahma Vidyayam Yoga Shastre Sri Krishna Arjuna Samvade Vibhuti Yogo Nama Dashamodhyayah. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om.
Na 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 na.